Happy, elated, Hobbit, day. I'm fond of jackets. This is my coffee cup. It doesn't have coffee in it. That's a sad amount of coffee, but I've already had 2 cups. Vanilla or hazelnut? Hazelnut or vanilla? This coffee's cold. I bet this is gonna look really funny. Oh, I put too much creamer. But I can't balance it out with more coffee. Not always. I've gotten better. I've gotten better with it.
You should probably vacuum for me.
I've never sat right here and enjoyed my coffee while looking out the window, so I'm gonna do that today. But I have to get my tripod first, and I have to vacuum for my mom. Hi. Meet my vacuum. No. Meet my tripod.
Oh yeah, the vacuum's the camera.
It's actually my brother's tripod for his telescope, but when music first started being a big part of my life, well, a larger part of my life, I was like 7. And whenever I'd come home from school, I'd go downstairs into the basement and I'd watch MTV. And that led to a world of, like, Green Day. First album I ever bought was American Idiot. But before that, and since, like, as long as I can remember, one of my favorite bands, one band that I have persistently loved to this day, is System of a Down. They're just amazing. I love them. I love every single one of them. Okay, and then, so yeah, so I liked My Chemical Romance for a bit. I got their album. I forgot what album. The Black Parade, which I still think is it's a nice sounding album. It's fun. But the radio led to my deep love for Coldplay and their album Viva La Vida. Back then, when I first started liking them, it was just the album Viva La Vida. I never got around to looking at any of their other albums. But I still like Coldplay, just not that album. I hate Viva La Vida. I don't hate it. I just really dislike it. And then I grew tired of the radio, so I listened to metal on the radio. And, and thus began my obsession with Korn for 3 years. But I didn't hear them on the radio. I mean, I had heard them on the radio, but I started liking them because my mom and my now stepdad, who I don't think was my stepdad, and they were gonna see Korn, so they were listening to Korn, and I was like, I enjoy this band. And it just began an era of Korn. And then, one day, once upon a time, my best friend took me to a concert that her brother's friends were headlining. That band was called Shepton Mallet. They're not together anymore, but that's significant because that was my first local show ever. And it just became so important to me. Local music is just top of the line. I mean, they're pretty awesome. It feels more... It's a different feeling being at a local show than at some huge, Korn concert, where it's like, this man doesn't know who I am. If I say, hey, I like your band, chances are they're just gonna, like, ignore me or maybe smile and be like, oh yeah, you and 10,000 other people who are, like, standing behind you. And then I went to a Rise of Seraphis show with my friend Rosie and her friend, whose name escapes me. And, we only stayed for them, and I don't like leaving concerts like that. I'm glad that I got to see them because I liked them for a while, and going to their shows introduced me to a lot of new local metal bands that I like today. When I was in 9th grade, we had service learning projects in my English class, which is pretty much community service. For my service learning project, I put on a concert pretty much alone. I pretty much did that alone. So for my concert rose money for my school's sports department. We raised like $400. I booked 3 bands: Rise of Serapis, Angel's Ruin, and Further to Fall. And to my knowledge, none of those bands are together anymore. Back to very much enjoying Korn. There's a chat room on the Korn site, and like the singer of the band goes on there sometimes and like answers questions. Somebody in that room introduced me to hipster music, though I don't consider myself a hipster. So he introduced me to Iron and Wine and Bon Iver and Rayla Montagna, and they're just beautiful, beautiful music. Oh, and he also introduced me to the Antlers. I was watching the movie Crazy Stupid Love, and something compelled me to watch the credits and just keep the credits rolling. And I'm so glad I did, because the last song that they played was Tenuousness by Andrew Bird. And this love of Andrew Bird led me to the love of St. Vincent, who's just a goddess. I love her. And this is random, but I have to mention Florence and the Machine. She is also a goddess whom I love. So lately I've been listening to St. Vincent and Florence and the Machine a lot. And George Watsky and the Mountain Goats. And if you watch a lot of Vlogbrothers videos, which I'm sure a few of you do, quite a few of you do, I got the Mountain Goats from John Green. I listened to them once just to like check them out, and I was sort of like meh, but then I listened to them again and I decided that I like them a lot. So yeah, I like music a lot. I forgot to mention Queen, or did I mention? I did mention Queen. I love Queen. So that's the music I like. I like all kinds of music. Music is just like the rawest form of human emotion, in my opinion. I'm sure that varies from person to person, how they express themselves. But for me, it's music. Now I'm going to respond. I usually write down what I want to respond to, but I forgot to do that this week. Oh, I can sympathize with those of you who were saying that you feel like you only read books because they're required by school. Half of the books that I said last week, I only read because they were required by school. That's not including Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or the Stephen King books, but everything else required by school. Luckily, these books tend to rock. This rock looks like a nose, I think. I'm sick. What else? Chris, have fun wherever it was that you were going to go. I forgot. Like I said, I usually write these things down because I don't have the greatest memory. But have fun while you're gone. We will wish that you're having fun. What else? So I think that's about it. Sorry this video wasn't that great. I'm kind of tired and I have a cold. I'm gonna make excuses. So, have a good week. I'll see you next Sunday. Also, let's celebrate because this is the first time that I actually got 2 videos on time in a row. High five. That's all.